Welcome back. Today, we're going to continue the platform training and talk about the Referral Dashboard and the different referral metrics that you might want to check here on the Referral Dashboard to see how your program is doing. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Here we are. So this is what you'll see right when you log into Talkable. This is your dashboard. It's a good hub to keep track of how your referral program is doing. By default, when you log in, it's going to show you a rolling 30 for performance. So you'll see here, I've actually changed the time frame to be the previous quarter, Q4. So let's go through some of these tiles. We've got revenue tiles here at the top. This one may be pretty self-explanatory, but this site revenue tile is essentially all of the revenue on your site. So the way Talkable works, we're tracking all of the purchases coming through your site with our post-purchase script. And essentially, we're looking at it and saying, is this a referral? No. Is this a referral? No. Is this a referral? Yes. And if it is, then we'll attribute it over here under Talkable Referral Revenue. So sometimes clients will ask me, how is it that Talkable tracks? What do you attribute here in this referral revenue tile? And we track in a few ways. So the most common is by coupon code. This is essentially someone's claiming a coupon code through the referral program, then it's definitely going to be a referral, right? So that will be attributed here. We can also track via email association. So if I email you directly, Talkable knows, hey, this advocate is tied to this friend. And if you were to purchase in a certain time frame, what we call an ideal time frame, ideal sales, that is 30 days by default, but can be changed by request in your account settings. That will be attributed here. Also, we can track via cookie. So if someone were to, interact with a referral screen or click on a share link, we're going to cookie them. And we can track those conversions as well, just in case, let's say someone forgot to use their coupon code that they claimed, or maybe they opted not to use it because you have an on-site promo going on or something. Now, we still want that advocate to get credit, so we can track those. Those will be attributed here as well under that same ideal time frame of 30 days. One other note about what's going to show here in your referral revenue tile. By default, we only show the approved and pending referrals. So essentially, if you look at your fraud settings, you may have some turned on to block. If it is a blocked referral, that's not going to show here. We're only showing the approved ideal sales here. Okay. You scroll down, you'll see a little bit more about the revenue tile. You can see here, for example, those different transactions split by advocates and friends. If an advocate comes back and uses their coupon code, that's the only way we can track them, but we will go ahead and track that and attribute that as referral revenue. You can see those advocates here. Same with friends, new and existing. Existing could be, for example, someone was brought in for the first time by referral, and then they make another purchase while they're still cookied. That's what we call an event chain referral, and that will be here. In a case like that, the advocate won't get rewarded, but we'll attribute the revenue. You can also see that split by revenue or even by AOV, as well as kind of a way of looking at how your referral program is performing over time, a lift in percentage of revenue, how much of the site's revenue is coming from the referral program. You can see that here as well. So those are your revenue tiles. There's a few other tiles here that you'll want to just take a look at every now and then. It's the campaigns tile. This is essentially showing you how many campaigns do you have live. How many are scheduled? Maybe you don't want to be there to, hit launch, hit the launch button on New Year's Eve for a New Year's promo or special campaigns that you're running. You can schedule those. And test campaigns. We'll talk about this some more when we look at campaigns, but these are essentially how many campaigns you have in progress, or they're kind of in that building mode. We also have this referrals tile. This is showing how many of the referral purchases that are being tracked, how many referrals are getting approved, how many are blocked, and this is all tying back to your fraud settings. We also have some rewards tiles. So advocate rewards, how many rewards are being given out to advocates, how many of those are being redeemed in a given time period. Same with friends. And then lastly, we've got your campaign performance tile, and closely related, your advocacy rate tile. Now, this one is kind of a pulse metric for a referral program. Advocacy rate, as we'll take a look at these metrics in a second, is essentially showing how willing are your advocates, when they have a chance to share the offer that you're offering to them. We'll come back to this. First, let's walk through these different referral metrics. So first, we have impressions here. Impressions are essentially how many times has a referral screen been shown. So for example, if you have a post-purchase campaign, each time that's popping up, that's one impression. Or you may have a floating widget campaign. Each time that's clicked, one impression. Or a standalone, your on-site landing page for the referral program. Each time you're pointing someone there and that campaign loads, that's one impression. So this is a very, very top of your referral funnel. At that point, some advocates, as referrers, are going to share. We call them sharers as a metric in Talkable. You can see those here over time as well. And then those sharers are going to share a certain number of times. Most probably will just share once, but hopefully you can get some of your sharers to share more than one time. Either have them come back and share again, or share in more than one way, or email more than one friend when they are sharing. You can keep track of that here with shares. So I'm going to pause really quickly and go back to this advocacy rate tile. So these advocate metrics in the referral funnel that we've looked at so far tie closely to this advocacy rate tile. Again, this is a pulse metric for your program. So advocacy percentage that you see here is sharers over impressions. What percent of the time did someone decide to share? You activated them as an advocate when they had a chance to do so. In terms of what you want to see here, our overall average for the benchmarks, the quartiles are 5% and 10%. So if you're between 5 and 10%, you've got a healthy advocacy rate. Obviously, the higher the better. You can also see how many sharers have shared in a given time period here to tie back to that advocacy percentage. Or you can see this other rate, the sharing rate, which is shares over sharers, essentially telling you overall how many shares are going out per sharer, if you think of it like that. And you want this to be between 1.2 and 1.4 generally. Obviously, again, the higher the better. But you can see here, this is a healthy share rate. Going back, if you can imagine at this point in the funnel, all of the shares are out there in the world, and Talkable won't be able to track anything until a friend interacts with that share. So what we'll start measuring for the friends, those referees, the potential new customers, if you will, are the clicks. So here we can see certain number of offer clicks. How many times are those links getting clicked? You can see here we've got more clicks than we do shares. That's great. Kind of a rule of thumb here. If your program is heavily email focused, you mainly will see email shares. Your click rate, or number of clicks over your number of shares, should be 0.7 or higher. Otherwise, a good rule of thumb is just 1-to-1. If you can get it so that most shares are getting clicked, especially because you'll have some one-to-many type of shares like link shares, that's a healthy program. From those clicks, the friend is taken to your site where they're shown the claim page. They're going to be asked, hey, who are you? In the background, we're running those fraud checks, making sure they're not the same person trying to refer themselves. And as long as they are, we'll give them a coupon code and they'll be sent to your site. So it's a pretty involved visit when you think about the steps. We're asking them to provide an email, we're running these checks. But we call those site visits. Think about that as how many people are claiming the codes and going to your site. Lastly, once they have the code and they're on site, there's really only one step left for them. That's hopefully they convert. That's what you'll think of as referrals. A referral is an object that we're creating here in Talkable each time one of those conversions happens. So those conversions, that's going to match up with your number of referrals. Since we've already talked about benchmarks for the rest of these, let's discuss these too. We can look at what we call a visit rate, how many visits are happening per clicks, visits over clicks. We want that to be higher than 33%. High end there for the quartile is 50%. Obviously, again, higher the better. Then we have conversion. So conversion rate for referrals is actually pretty high, higher than your average site conversion rate, for example, or for other channels, just given the nature of this channel. So the low end of the conversion rate is 15%, higher end 30%. So, between 15 and 30% conversion rate, you've got a healthy program. That said, this is the one that's a little bit more affected by your site as well. So this one can vary the most from brand to brand, I would say. But if you see, for example, you have a low conversion rate, maybe you have a low advocacy rate, that could be a red flag of, oh, well, maybe your offer is not so enticing to your advocates or to the friends. Let's test a higher offer. Which brings me to the very last thing you see here on the dashboard. That's A/B tests. When you have A/B tests running, they'll look like this, little tiles. And you can click into them and see, for example, this one here for a subject line test. It'll show you a hypothesis. One variant over another. It's not working for me, so you know what? We'll touch base on that for the reporting. Anywho, that's the whole dashboard and all the referral metrics. So thanks for sticking with me here. Up next, we'll be talking about campaigns and the user journey. Thanks.